Was that really Joe Chill? Is Selina headed down a dark path? Which villain could possibly top what Paul Dano's Riddler gave us? Though a sequel to The Batman has not officially been greenlit by Warner Bros., Matt Reeves has made it known that a second movie is still in development, with him set to return as director and stars Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz lined up to return also respectively. Question is, what could we be getting from the second installment? Stay with us as we explore the different elements that Batman 2 could have in store, including who could be the next big bad. Number 7. The Wayne Murders Explained. During the first film, the murders of Thomas and Martha Wayne become linked to the story, but the whole truth is left uncovered. The prevailing theory goes that Thomas and Carmine put the fear of God into a reporter, Edward Elliot, who is snooping into Martha's family history. When this turns into a murder and Thomas announces he'll be going to the police to explain everything, he and Martha are gunned down before he gets a chance to, indirectly leading their son Bruce to becoming the Dark Knight. This theory puts Falcone in the frame, but again, it is never fully confirmed. The theory that Falcone himself spins to Bruce is that Sal Maroni had the reporter in his pocket and was pushing him to get dirt on the Waynes in order to run Thomas's mayoral campaign at the time. When Elliot was killed, Maroni couldn't allow his rival Falcone to have a friend who was mayor, and so had the Waynes murdered. As Alfred Pennyworth says himself, he isn't sure of who really committed the crime, just like everyone else. It could have even been just some mugger wanting some cash by any means necessary. It is possible we've seen the person who pulled the trigger already, in the form of the man Bruce briefly stands and speaks to at Mayor Mitchell's funeral. Could this be Joe Chill? Could he have been hired by one of the mob bosses to gun down the Waynes? Like Peter Parker in the 2012's The Amazing Spider-Man, Bruce's parents' deaths tie closely to who he has become, and the mystery of it is left as a hanging thread to hopefully be picked up again. As we head into the sequel and watch Bruce develop more as Gotham's hero, hopefully this will be something that is brought back up. If it's revealed, it would put Bruce's morals to the test as he tries not to seek the ultimate revenge. Number 6. Another Joker tease. One of the final scenes in The Batman shows Edward Nashton being comforted by a partially unseen fellow inmate. An inmate with a very distinctive cackle, and what looks like disfigured features from what we can make out of him. Although he's credited in the film as Unseen Arkham Inmate, Reeves? Come on, you can't fool us. The character is clearly our first sneak peek at the Joker, played by none other than Eternal's Barry Keoghan. You would probably expect that this means Joker will be popping up in this next installment. Well, actually, that's more than likely not the case. Reeves himself has said that the tease doesn't necessarily mean he'll be front and center for the next film. In that case, it can be expected that he'll pop up at the end in another cameo. That maybe fully sets him up as the main villain of the third film. Speaking of main villains, number 5, a new lead villain of the story. It goes without saying that Paul Dano's Riddler was a superb villain for the latest iteration of the Dark Knight to take on. The big question now is who will take up the mantle now that that character is in jail. Reeves has said that he has a few ideas in mind, mentioning Mr. Freeze as a character he'd love to adapt and make more grounded. How would that work? Not a clue, but it is certainly an interesting concept. There are already rumors of Bernie Safdie being eyed to portray Harvey Dent in the sequel. If this is true, it means we could have Two-Face coming in. There's the name of that reporter, Edward Elliot, plus the word hush that flashes up on the screen when Riddler reveals the story of Elliot's murder. Could Thomas Elliot be on his way for revenge after years of waiting? There is also talks of the Court of Owls being a good fit for Batman's latest big screen foes. As the first film was about the corruption of Gotham and the city's history, it would be a very good choice. Could they somehow even play into the murders of the Waynes that we mentioned earlier? Let's just pray Reeves doesn't get cocky and try to bring in Condiment King. Jeesh. Number 4, a new mystery. Every Batman film series has stood apart from the others in some particular way. Burton and Keaton were the first to bring the dark tone. Schumacher and Vilmer Clooney added a bit of campiness. Nolan and Bale brought in the realism and grounded take. Snyder and Affleck brought us an older, grittier take on the crime fighter. For Reeves and Pattinson, it's the detective side. A big part of the Batman's appeal was the detective story. Watching Bruce Wayne's Sherlock Holmes-ness shine bright for the first time on screen, with that, it sets the tone for this universe, as we get Zodiac-style world of sleuthing that Batman is living in. There is no telling how Reeves and his team would do it, but a new case to crack would probably need to be included in the next movie. Whether it is another murder case or something from a different angle, we need to see the Dark Knight in detective mode again for sure. Number 3, a new suit. Most fans have grown to love the getup that Pattinson's Caped Crusader wears throughout his debut. It echoes back to the earlier comics, and it's a refreshing change from the costumes we've seen over the past 30 years. However, for the character, his current costume might just not cut it anymore. It's scratched, flimsy, basic more than anything. For a Gotham City that is set to head into hell, would this really do for the hero when he's facing more than just petty thugs every night? We've seen this Batman tip out a few gadgets here and there, but it may be time for him to level up and keep himself alive to fight another day. It certainly wouldn't be the first time Bruce Wayne has had a desire to upgrade his suit to make it easier when out in the field. It would be interesting to see what Matt Reeves adapts if there were to be some edits. It's probably not going to happen, but could the white eye lenses make it in just this once? Number 2, a Gotham in ruins. The climax of The Batman saw the Riddler's plan for Gotham City come to fruition. By blowing up the seawalls around the city, a mass flood spread and left Batman having to save the citizens from danger. As we find out from Bruce Wayne's ending narration, the National Guard is called in to help with the situation, but there is also the expectancy of a power grab, as individuals such as Oz Cobblepot will try and seize as much power as possible during the uncertain times. Similar to how the Dark Knight partially dealt with the repercussions of Batman Begins, it looks like the Batman number 2 will show the title character Jim Gordon and the GCPD working to keep control of the mayhem as Gotham City turns into a war zone. The comic books have touched on this sort of storyline before, and with it comes an interesting dynamic between all people in Gotham. It seems like the perfect stage is set for the next Batman outing. Number 1, Catwoman, the villain. Although Selina Kyle proves to be a worthwhile helping hand to Batman throughout the film, there are moments that show that she has the potential to become her untrustworthy comic book alter ego. She is willing to go as far as killing people when she believes necessary, and she believes in standing up against the hierarchy of Gotham. Even though Selina rides off towards Bloodhaven, seemingly learning to become a better person from the events of the story, we know that peace and harmony isn't really in her future. Catwoman is our villain in the comics, and the Batman was simply her origin story. With the confirmation that Kravitz is returning to the role in the planned second film, it looks like Selina will return to Gotham one way or another. With the city set to be in tatters, it is possible that she'll be coming back to claim a piece of Gotham for herself. Is she maybe running away from something she's done in Bloodhaven? Whatever it is, it's bound to be a dark road ahead for Miss Kyle. See, there's a lot that could be swirling around for the sequel. There's a lot of threads to be picking up from the end of the last film, and there's a lot of rumors that could be interesting to run with. What would you like to see happen in The Batman 2? We just asked for a really cool title, Vengeance of the Batman, or The Batman Cataclysm? Just give us something exciting, Reeves.